It's Friend of a Friend City. I'm Heather, and I'm here to meet some friends of friends. Welcome again to Friend of a Friend City, where I ask my friends to introduce me to a friend of theirs that they think might be interesting and is up for a chat. Today we've got another two lovely guests. My friend Zac introduced me to Oscar. So you go by Scar, I heard?
Yes, that is correct. I prefer that over Oscar.
Scar. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
And
Heather.
my friend Bianca has introduced me to Amethyst West. Nice to meet you.
So lovely to be here, Heather. I'm a big fan of the pod.
Thank you. Now, let's go over to you, Amethyst. Bianca told me that you ran for council.
I did. I'm very proud of my run for council this year. I got 9.4% of the vote.
9.4%.
Yes. A very big number. A bit of a 0.2% swing from the last time.
You've run before?
I have, yes. Back in whenever the last election was.
Oh, okay. You've run a few times? You can't keep up with the amount of elections?
Definitely, yes. I try to run as much as I can, just really get out there campaigning with the people. It's really what I'm about.
Wow, you're really into the politics. So you got 9.6% of the vote.
9.4.
9.4, my
Yes,
mistake. You must
yes.
be looking forward to that extra 0.2 maybe.
Yes, next. Oh, I'll just climb up there. Extra 0.2 each time. Yeah, we're going to get there eventually, surely.
Tell me about what makes you want to run for politics?
Well, you see, I just have a dream of this city, and I just feel we need to cleanse it and just all the bad energy. Like, I feel like we all need to spread a bit more love in the city, don't you think? Like, just having my main policy is to have crystals among the city, public, like we have public art now, and we're just really going to cleanse the energy of the city, and really public breathing spaces would be really useful. I feel we're just all working that 9 to 5 and terrible air quality. You've
raised a lot of interesting questions with your policy platform there.
Yes, thank you.
I'll jump just to the last one you mentioned about public breathing spaces. Now, air quality, a noble goal.
Very much so. Yes.
But public breathing spaces, is this to say they're the only places people can breathe?
I would say it's the only places people will breathe mindfully.
Oh, okay.
So we're really like doing that meditation in these areas and ensuring that the air quality only in these spaces is immaculate.
Oh, so you're only talking about air quality in these spaces. You could care less about the rest of the city.
Not necessarily. No, I think these spaces are the key to it. Yeah, someone said to me recently, like, what do you think about public transport? It's like, well, why can't a bus be a public breathing space?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, why can't we think about buses as meditation zones?
Right.
Yeah.
Would the bus driver be meditating there as well? Is it a stopped bus? I hope everyone gets to relax.
True. I should look at that in the policy, definitely, yes.
Now, you also mentioned that you want to cleanse the city. Another one seems very close to a noble goal of a clean environment for a city. You've said the word cleanse.
Yes.
Can you talk me through what do you mean by that?
Well, I just feel we really need to cleanse the energy of the city. Like, there's so many people walking around just not vibing. I think the word would be vibing. I just feel like the vibes of the city are just off at the moment. Like, do you know what I mean? Just the hustle and bustle, and there's just too many people tired and sad and not talking to each other. So I think we just really need to up the vibes.
You're just upping the vibes. And what's your plan to up the vibes? It sounds... Is it just crystals?
Yeah, I would say crystals. I think some sound vibrations in public areas. I really think maybe having like drumming circles would be really nice as well. Just, in like King George Square, that would be a great vibe. Like just bring up the vibe of the whole city.
Right. Well, it seems like you have a plan, but you say so. You got 9.4% of the vote.
I did. Yes, I'm very proud of that.
And you're very proud of that,
I
aren't
am.
you?
Yes, I am. I think it's a real honor for me that 9.4% of people just really sat there and wrote down my name and voted one for Amethyst West.
You said something that. Are you a write-in candidate in all these elections?
Yeah, you see, I'm actually not on the ballot. But I was not allowed to by Brisbane City Council after the last 3 times I ran. They mentioned that I would no longer be allowed to be on the ballot. I would just simply have to be a write-in candidate. So all my friends wrote me in. All my amazing friends out there, thank you so much for your vote. It really means a lot.
Look, it's honestly phenomenal that you got 9.4% of the vote on write-ins alone.
Thank you so much. I really have a lot of friends.
You do have a lot of friends,
Yes,
and
I
a lot
do.
of friends that they must be very mindful if they're your friends.
They are, yes. We go to Pilates together.
Big Pilates class.
Yes, it is. Yes. Well, you see, like I run my own yoga studio. So it's really important to me that everyone that is a member of the yoga studio votes for me.
Okay, so you run the yoga studio, and
do.
everyone that comes to your studio, they have to vote for you. You're saying?
I would say it's suggested in the membership agreement that they write in Amethyst West when they
Right.
vote. Yes.
Is this in any election they take part in? Local, state, federal, just a community group?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say 9.4% was definitely like my highest vote. But I have run in others, and my membership has gone up and down.
So I haven't actually. I should have asked. What election was it that you recently ran in that you did get 9.4% of the vote?
That was the current. That was the council.
The council election.
Council election.
Wow.
Yes. The very, very, very local council.
The very, very local council.
Yes. The town hall council for the yoga studio.
So it's not what I want to do to call you out, but did you get voted out of your yoga studio?
I would say I'm really not interested in gotcha journalism.
I'd hate to engage in it. But I'm just looking for the facts, really.
Yeah. So yeah, I really I feel it was a fake election that meant that I am no longer a part of the yoga studio that I was once part of, but I
That you started by the sounds of it.
I was a founder, yes, but 9.4% of that vote wanted me to be a part of that council for the owners of that yoga studio.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you've got some support behind you.
Thank you.
It's nice to hear. It's good to have people around you, especially in times where maybe you're being extricated from
Yes.
the yoga studio.
I really appreciate that, Heather, and I'm so glad I have your support.
I won't be voting for you. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Uh,
that's really upsetting, but thank you
look,
for your consideration.
no problem. I'll keep you in consideration.
Oh, That really means a lot. I really hope I can do anything to win your vote.
Thank you for coming in to chat. We will have to
You're
move
welcome.
on to talk to our next guest.
Yes.
Are you happy to stick around?
Absolutely,
Chat?
yes. I'd love to meet Oscar, maybe one of my potential voters.
Oh, a little bit of electioneering here in the studio. Now, Oscar, or Scar, sorry.
Yeah. Excuse
Scar.
me, Heather. I much prefer to be called Scar.
Scar.
Mm,
Now, Zac introduced me to you, and Zac mentioned that you're an evangelist of sorts.
Oh yes. I'm what you would call probably a modern age man, and I just really feel like us as a people just don't spend enough time in parks, really enjoying parks. Do you feel me, Heather?
Really enjoying parks.
Yeah, like none of this, jungle gym. None of this doggy park. I'm talking about a real park.
What kind of? Tell me, what does your park look like? Draw the mind's eye for me.
Oh, I'm talking about the park where you've got nothing but a little bit of grass, a little bit of bitumen. I'm talking about a couple of trees. Not those sanitary trees, but the proper trees you can climb.
Some crystals.
Yes. Oh, I feel crystals might be a little bit too synthetic. I'm talking about real wild parks.
Now, Scar, you did mention there was a small patch of grass, a little bit of bitumen, and then a large tree, the what type you could climb.
Yes.
And are you saying that so that's your ideal park, that it's not really anywhere to move, just one big old tree, basically?
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Heather. Actually, the tree is pretty fundamental because I feel like we as primal animals will always desire to climb the tree. And that's also where the bitumen comes in handy, because if you fail at climbing the tree, you should feel pain.
That's quite a I'm trying to think of a word here.
Philosophical.
Quite a thank you so much, Amethyst.
Thank you, very mindful.
I do consider myself quite a philosopher. In my day-to-day activities,
What do you do in your day-to-day? Talk us through it.
Well, usually I wake up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's super vital that I'm there to not only appreciate pre-dawn, but scorn the sun when it sets and rises. So it requires me to change my entire life around that, as you might imagine. Usually sun is rising at this time, about 5:15, and
It's getting earlier.
Yes, and I usually find myself climbing my own tree at home, just so I can be closer to the sun, and just really let loose.
I really latched on to you say you scorn the sun, not as it sets and as it rises. Is this why do you scorn the sun?
Oh, well, some people would like to base their day on the sun. And honestly, I think that's really set us back as a people. Because, would you believe it? Some people call them days. And you're really forgetting about the nights. And I feel like this whole sun-centric community just really is denying us half of our life.
So you're going up in the tree in the morning.
Yeah.
Climbing the tree. What? You're not up there during the nighttime though, so you're not.
Oh no. There's I will say this to all both my attractors and detractors out there. I do actually appreciate the moon. I do not scorn the moon.
Wow.
It is honestly one of my only friends.
The moon is beautiful.
The moon is
I agree.
beautiful. Yeah. Thank you.
So
I can see you thinking, but
Yeah.
I want you to know that I'm just like of a nighttime. My first act, like pre-dawn.
pre-dawn.
Yeah, pre-dawn.
This is before a lot of dawns.
It is true. I would say maybe as the lay people call 1 a.m. I'm usually finding myself not in the trees, but rather in the grass. It's the perfect time for me to actually hunt for my meals.
That's very interesting. You're hunting for your meals. You're living in the nature. You've described the perfect park. Whereabouts are you when you're doing all of this?
This one here, this would be actually in my favorite place in the world. Are you familiar with Toowong Park?
I am familiar with Toowong Park.
Gorgeous area.
Do you need a permit for that?
Oh, permits? Do I need a permit
That's
to
attitude.
at 1 a.m. when I'm minding my own business on my hands and knees in the grass? Do I need a permit to do that? Do I need a permit to hunt grubs from the ground with my bare teeth? Is big government going to stop me doing that?
I'm sure small government might.
Oh, well, they can try. They know where I am.
I don't think they should, though.
No, I agree.
Yeah, you have to hunt for grubs.
I do have a right to hunt for grubs.
100%.
Who else is going to do this?
Who else? Are you trying to convince any people to this lifestyle? So have you had anyone join you? I know Amethyst has obviously been canvassing for people for their votes. Do you look for supporters as well?
Oh, I have a lot of almost supporters, I would say.
So do I.
Yes, except my supporters are more in a spiritual setting. Take, for example, I was at Coles the other day and I shared a lovely moment over some green beans. I was reaching for them and then someone else said, "Hey, those green beans, they look pretty nice." And then I said to them, "Yeah, they do. But you know what else is nice? Going to the park, Toowong Park, all night and eating grubs." And they didn't have to say it. But I knew they were on my side.
This absolutely begs the question. Are you going to a Coles just to convince people near green beans that they should be eating grubs?
Heather, I think you're not kind of getting...
I mustn't be getting
Yeah. I feel like you're just not kind of understanding the mission statement here. Because why is not everyone dedicating their life to this mission? This is the most important thing. Everything else can be damned. If we're not out there eating the grubs at 1 a.m., this whole world's going to turn to... Yeah, it's going to go to fire.
What would you say the nutrition profile of the grubs are?
Oh, so I appreciate the question. I actually don't eat them for the nutrition.
Oh, interesting.
I pretty much just do it for the feeling of another animal getting chewed in my mouth. Because I feel like that's what our ancestors would have done. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors. And honestly, if my ancestors could be here, I'm sure they would smile on me and they would be so cross with you, Heather.
Oh, I'd hate to bear the wrath of your ancestors. But what do you want this world to look like? You've described your life at the moment, described maybe what you want to see, but what are you going for here?
I would like at least 50% of all housing destroyed. Yeah, that would be, honestly, I can't imagine where else you would start. And you just take away the houses, but you leave the concrete slabs, for they are vital to how we start our new parks. Because we have grass, concrete, grass, concrete. Are you seeing where I'm going with this one, Heather?
I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm very interested if this is a platform that Amethyst would get behind.
Yeah, well, you see, I have tested the destruction of housing. It does not go down very well, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely the creation of breathing spaces, and I think I could get on board with the grub eating spaces as well. Just, it really doesn't poll very well, unfortunately.
I've got a question, Amethyst.
Yes.
Why are you so pro buses? I think the breathing should only happen in parks.
Oh, okay.
Why you?
Well, I find that an interesting question, because why would you only live life in parks when you could move around? Do you not move around? Do you stay in the one park?
Oh, for as long as I can, I will try to stay in one park.
What happens when the grubs run out in the park?
Funny you should ask this. A kind gentleman in Woolworths the other day asked me the exact same question.
You go to a lot of supermarkets there, Scar.
Oh, it's important because apparently there is such thing as a ban list in a supermarket. It's an absolute infringement on my rights, but I will persist, even if the world doesn't want me. But yes, to answer it, like, I will actually start hunting larger animals.
Oh.
Mm.
Oh, right. Okay, so you're...
Because once I've eaten all the grubs, the birds will no longer have grubs to eat, and therefore will become easy prey.
So, Scar, you're a very interesting person, and now it seems like you are causing the extinction of animals potentially.
That sounds about right, Heather.
You sound like an absolute force of nature. How did you get here? Is this the way you were brought up?
I'm glad you brought that up, Heather. No, I was actually raised in a fairly normal household. We had probably 2 cats, 3 dogs, and we lived what I would call on the outskirts of Esk. And
Call it the outskirts of Esk.
yes, I wouldn't call it. We weren't city-esque, but we definitely the outskirts. But due to situations with work, my parents were forced to move into the concrete jungle, and that is where I've remained ever since.
That's where you've remained. But then, what's driven you to your current undertakings?
Well, my parents were always very involved with work, so I really modelled how I lived after one of my family cats.
Oh.
I would study Mr. Meowski every night, and it was fascinating to me that Mr. Meowski had it all sorted.
So, would you say this Mr. Meowski was like a parental figure to you?
Oh, 110%. Mr. Meowski, I actually credit as my biological parent on a lot of my official documentation. And it was a harsh time when Mr. Meowski left us, but
My condolences.
Thank you. Mr. Meowski found another family, and honestly, it just inspired me to always search for new people.
That's lovely. I love that message.
Thank you, Amethyst. Have you ever looked up to an animal before, Amethyst?
Yes, I think so. I really appreciate butterflies. I really feel like they are like part of me. Do you know what I mean? Like they just go from tree to tree. They swarm together. And I feel that way. I swarm a lot of people together.
Both very much inspired by nature. Now, just got a question. We're just coming to the end of our recording here. But I'd like to ask our guests, what's your favourite thing to do in Brisbane? How about you, Scar?
Yeah, thank you, Scar. Yes.
Sorry,
Please. No, that's okay. It's okay, Heather.
Is that... Sorry to take you off topic. Is Scar just... Is that just closer to maybe this feline name, this cat name to you?
Very good question, Heather. No, I've actually chose that as a personal admiration that I would like to be like a Scar. In that I want to be a forever remembered presence on this world.
Wow, so you really are trying to be a force for nature, potentially not for good.
Well, it really depends on who you are, Heather, but I would like to say potentially.
So, Scar, what is your favourite thing to do in Brisbane?
Oh, well, I would have to say I enjoy the long, long drive down the highway towards Ipswich. Just a beautiful drive. And that's my favourite thing. As I get out into the wilds, I just remember, and I just remember Ipswich is the perfect place, a perfect harmony of concrete and grass.
Wow, really did not expect you to be driving a car that often, but you're quite the force. Now, Amethyst, what's your favourite thing to do in Brisbane?
I really love just going where the people are. I love going across the bridges, standing in Queen Street. A lot of people like taking photos with me. I like taking photos with them. Yeah, just places where I'm really popular.
What's the split there of you asking to take a photo with people and people asking you for a photo?
I would say like 90-10.
90-10 to you asking them?
Just a very round,
very
roundabout figure, 90-10.
That sounds nice. And you see a lot of supporters out there in there.
I do. I have like 83 Instagram followers.
Wow.
So I just really enjoy showing off this beautiful city and the amazing people in it that love me.
When was the last time you went to a park?
Depends on what you classify a park, like
Toowong Park.
Yeah, no, I've never been to Toowong Park.
You lost my vote.
Oh,
I'm
it's okay.
I'm sorry,
So did
Amethyst.
I also lost 91% of the rest of people's votes. So
But you got the 9.4.
the 9.4 is all that counts.
Yeah, that's what counts. Well, thank you so much, and please thank Bianca and Zac. Are you going to be seeing them anytime soon?
I think the last time I saw her was about like 4 years ago. So yeah, definitely sometime soon. We're due for another catch up for sure.
For sure. I'm sure you've got Bianca's vote. And what about you, Scar? Is Zac joining you out there in Toowong Park often?
He walks past it on his way to the Coles, and I do occasionally see him from time to time. But I very much look forward to meeting him again in about 4 months and 2 weeks when my ban is officially lifted at that Coles. I'm really looking forward to really touching his mind and soul.
I didn't realise they lifted bans at the Coles.
It's in the fine print.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, you both, and thank you for being on Friend of a Friend City.
Hey Heather, it's Bianca. I'm really sorry about Amethyst. I really thought she ran for council. I did not realise that it was for City Hall, that it was not for City Hall. And I don't go to that yoga studio anymore. I haven't been there for like 4 years. So apologies. I hope you have a great day. I hope the podcast went well other than Amethyst. Bye.
Hi Heather, Zac here. Yeah, sorry about Scar. Oh, Oscar? No, it was one of them. I was just trying to make a stroganoff, and he just kept on following me around the store. I might have blurted out you had a show, and then he wouldn't leave me alone. I'm so sorry. Yeah. If you see him again, please tell him not to come back. I really need to go back to the grocery shop. Thank you, Heather.